Started.
All right. Sorry for the technical delays. How are you, Nick?
Good. How are you, Eric?
I'm good. Hey, thank you for doing this. So tell me what the hell you do. All right, hold on. I should say, welcome to the Healthy Gorilla podcast. I'm Eric. I'm the talking head and the owner of the Natural Food Exchange. I'm here with my buddy Nick, who is growing the Amazon rainforest in his apartment, apparently. So
I do a lot of gardening. I work with Lynn Grows, and I'm a big part of the Lynn community. I help with creating CSAs, community supported agriculture. And, we start gardens, we start, just growing food and everywhere. We teach kids in elementary schools, just trying to make a change in the way people see food and, empowering people to grow their own food.
So what's the term? Back when I was a photographer, I worked for Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare, and they talked to, is it a food desert when in the other city? Is that one of the things the CSA is working on that you?
True, yeah. In many parts of the city, they don't have access to, grocery stores with healthy vegetables. They got like gas stations and corner stores with, junk,
Yep.
candy, preserved food, chips, snacks, and things like that. But nothing like, that comes straight out of a farm, fresh.
Yeah.
So, and that's
Yeah. Your work. So one of the things you're working on is you're working with what community activism to try and bring like green grocers into those areas, or are you trying to empower people to do what you do?
So starting people on their own journey to sell on farmers markets so they can, make extra cash just gardening over the spring, summer, and then, eating your own crops and vegetables, and then also supporting CSA, which is, a place where a local place where they grow vegetables and you can buy from your neighbors, basically.
Oh, so almost like okay. All right. So what I've seen some of your videos. This is why we're having this conversation. I'm fascinated by some of the stuff you do to get, the people who aren't like looking over my shoulder or hopefully see this video. You're raising beetles.
I've got worms, beetles, all kinds of microorganisms, that have helped me to garden, because those are actually the natural fertilizers that are found in the forests, and the nature, which is abundant with healthy vegetables and plants, trees, all that.
And you're raising it's
those are the powerhouses of the world. That's how the earth grows its food,
No, don't like I laugh, but I think it's fantastic. Don't get me wrong. It'll probably make my store go out of business.
Unnormal, to have, because I literally have just a big tent and filled with worms in my living, and it's just out of place. You know what I mean? And then right next behind this shoji screen here is actually a big greenhouse, and it's filled with vegetables and microgreens. I even got spirulina. So a ton of things. Like I've experimented with fermenting my own vegetables. And so, when you grow your own vegetables and you only have that quick amount of time to eat it because, they all go bad. Yep. So you have to learn how to preserve yourself. And so you preserve your things by fermenting, like making sauerkraut, kimchi, things like that. And then you can eat over a longer period and preserve your own harvest.
And there's also the benefits of probiotics that you get when you ferment.
Right, and I'm sure you know about that because I'm sure your store has plenty of those awesome probiotics.
Yeah, but I find it, the more you learn, the more you go back to the basics. Where if people spent more time, I always say if people, I don't know if you've been into the store yet, but say 40% of the store is grocery, and then 60% of the store is supplements. And I always tell people, and 9 out of 10 people just kind of laugh and move on. But if you spend more time in that third of the store, you're going to spend less time in the other part of the store. If you just start with the basics and eat healthy food.
Because, you know, going hardcore, doing what I do, and just starting to grow microgreens, starting to grow your own vegetables, it's not really going to help you if you don't even eat vegetables in the first place, you know. So you actually have to enjoy eating vegetables before you start growing it, you know. And yeah, it's incremental, you know. You just start slow, you know. It's a journey towards health. Just start with, you know, in buying healthy groceries and learning how to eat that. And as you get better, yes, you can supplement, you know, add some spirulina, add some, you know, vitamins and here and there. And then eventually you're going to want to increase that. Like, you got your diet down, you know, everything's good. Then you start to grow your own, and then you're just moving up level by level, you know. It's like how in jiu-jitsu as well, you know,
Absolutely.
You know, start off as a white belt. That means you're going out and you're just going to eat vegetables, you know. You're just going to just learn new vegetables, learn how to, you know, your carrots and your salad, your greens, you know what I mean? And then go from there. After that, level up, you know, go to the blue belt level, and then you're taking supplements, and then you go into, you know, purple and brown. Black belts there when you're, you know, superhuman and you're growing everything yourself, you know what I mean? And you got 100% of your diet coming from your, I mean, no,
I find it hilarious that you call the black belt superhuman, because I definitely don't feel superhuman. I feel more like you start.
Those white belts, man, when they look at you, they're like, what?
Yeah. You know what's funny though, when you get to the whatever level, like when you get to the level you are with growing food, you probably realize like, you know, there's so much more that you can learn. I think that's with anything. You almost start.
That's true. You know, even with all the knowledge that I have, I only know how to grow what I grow. And there's like tons of different varieties of plants and methods that you could use. You know, I'm stuck on my own methods, but, you know, there's hydroponics, there's aquaponics, and there's, you know, aeroponics. Like, there's so many different ways to grow and different things to grow. So it's just a world of knowledge out there, you know. And, you know, getting started, man, there's just a lot of potential.
So, all right. So I have a question for you. So if someone wants to do, and I'd love when, you know, we can get in, I'd love to, you know, maybe you can send me a clip or two of what you're doing so we can integrate it so people don't just see two talking heads. But if someone wanted to dip their toe in the water of what you do, one, what would be the easiest or the most reward for minimal investment to do? Would it be watercress? Would it be spirulina? Would it be mushrooms? What do you suggest?
But a one fits all approach is microgreens.
Okay.
It fits everybody. Like, but if you have a garden, if you have access to, you know, some land, you can just throw seeds. Throw seeds in. You know what I mean? And then you don't even have to water it, honestly. If it grows, you know what I mean, and to a full size plant, awesome, great. If it grows halfway and dies, guess what? You're adding nutrients to the soil.
Yeah.
And the plant is going to die. The microorganisms are going to eat that plant, and then they're going to turn it into nutrients for next year. So it's always a win-win to just throw seeds in your garden. But if you don't have access to land, then microgreens is definitely the best way, because you just get a little tray and you put some seeds on it, and you got food in about a week. And I'm talking about the healthiest food that you could grow yourself. We're talking about 40 times the nutrient levels of store-bought groceries from the stores. So 40 times the nutrients. It's like an example is the radish that I grow, the radish microgreens.
Yeah.
You go radishes in the grocery store and you measure the amount of nutrients in there. You measure mine, the microgreens in there. You'll have basically in the same size. If you have a plate of, let's say, 100 grams of the store-bought radish and 100 microgreens, there will be as many nutrients inside the microgreens.
Yeah, that's something people I've read and seen studies where they say that even like oranges are 1/8 or 1/12 the nutrients that they were, say, in the 50s.
true, and it's because of the soil degradation.
Yeah, exactly.
Monocultures, and there's a lot of problems out there. I don't want to just, like bash everybody, and this is why I'm doing my own thing. You know what I mean? I don't want to like go out there and say, oh, you farmers need to stop doing this, and you need to, you know what I mean, grow better and save the environment. No, I'm going to do it myself. And this is the approach, growing microgreens. And then as we grow our own food, we're becoming less dependent on those farmers that degrade the soil, that come out with, these oranges and these tomatoes that have no nutrients.
And I think the other thing that doesn't get talked about sometimes is that when you do grow that, there's fuel calories that are not used to transport the food to you. So the bushel of apples that comes from Oregon, if you have an apple tree, you just pick it. There's no fuel used to actually transport it. So you're saving energy, you're saving resources just in that locally grown things will.
I mean, if you want to talk about like greenhouse gases and all the like all the problems that go with, trucking our food from different parts of the world, I mean, this is a great way to solve that too, reducing that the greenhouse gases and our imprint on the earth.
Yeah, it's found it amazing that you can solve simple problems by growing beetles in your living room. Isn't it kind of like it's no, seriously, I'm not. It's that
nitrogen is the biggest things. I don't know if you know, but the fertilizers, the unnatural nitrogens that they
nitrates.
use in some of these, in the farms, they leak out into the environment, and they cause like really bad problems, overgrowth of algae inside the ponds and the bodies of water, killing the fish and the entire ecosystems. And then the fish die, the birds die because they feed on the fish, and then the entire ecosystem just melts down from one catastrophic, like thing of just polluting the environment with nitrogen, which the soil runoff happens, but that's not a possibility when you're raising beetles, when you've got worms. It just doesn't happen.
It's a very elegant solution so that you can actually make a difference. As silly as it sounds, as much as a wise ass like me wants to go, yeah, you're growing beetles, but it's all kidding aside. It's a very elegant solution on a personal level to deal with something that
except they have like, they're kind of creepy, crawly, and there's thousands of them.
They creep me out.
Fish.
Oh man, that's hilarious. So now, are you 100% plant-based, or do you eat meat at all, or?
Yeah, I do eat some meat, just because of my culture.
Okay.
There's so many things inside of Cambodian cuisine that just, naturally has like meat, and like an example is pho.
Yeah.
Bone broth.
Yeah.
Bone broth soup with the noodles.
Yeah.
That's part of the Southeast Asian tradition.
Yep.
And I just, I've tried going vegan, and I just always come back to my heritage, my roots. You know what I mean? I do try to the meat content that I eat, because the whole factory farming, and I don't know, but it's the way they're raising animals. It's inhumane, and it's not actually very healthy for us, because they're pumping the animals filled with antibiotics and all kinds of things.
So I'm gonna grill after we do this. I'm gonna grill some grass-fed steaks.
Grass.
When I finally get you in the store, remind me. We'll go to the freezer. I'll give you. I have a very nice farm out in Western Mass that we use. I've been using it personally before the store, but it's you can walk the fields with the animals, and I have and then backed off because I got a little too close to a cow with the calf. It wasn't pretty.
Oh, yeah, farmers out here in Massachusetts too. So I mean, you can support your local farmers. Get to know them, get to know how they raise their animals, and if you by supporting them, they will take into consideration your your opinions on how they grow. If you want food, and you're their customer,
Oh yeah.
well, you have much more influence.
I found that when you can look someone in the eye too, there's a lot more integrity than just kind of talking to a big conglomerate.
Local all the way. That's why the local agriculture and the local businesses, like what you're doing, it's awesome.
Yeah, so the CSAs, what do you do? Where are you? You're in Lynn, Massachusetts.
Have one. We've converted playgrounds and parks where they were overrun by thugs and stuff, where they just there's a lot of gang and drug activity and things like that. We basically took over those areas and just put people there with their vegetables. Awesome. And then they were driven out, because once the people came and the kids came and everyone came, they just it's hard for them to stay around.
That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. You got to send me, I'll have to take my son. My son is the technical guy who does this. By the way, they're super, super impressed that you won. You placed first place in an Oculus online.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. I do a little video gaming. That's hilarious. It's pretty. Virtual reality is new though, so I didn't have much competition. I probably beat a couple 13-year-olds out there.
We had a couple kids that are in our pod, our little limited interaction of people, and I came down with my phone. I was like, hey, my buddy just won. He won a thing. The old man was like cool for about 30 seconds because I knew the guy who placed first.
That's funny. That's hilarious.
So
now I'm cool with the kids, huh?
Yeah, no, they I was telling him, I was like, yeah, who I'm going to talk to is he's the guy that won first place. Like, all of a sudden it became a big thing. Now we got to adjust the light a little more. We got to, it became
that's on my resume. I'm going to make I got a kids class teaching.
That's all right. But you know what though? That's I had a note, like a mental note to mention that, because I think sometimes when people get into these conversations, they kind of pigeonhole either me or you as being very one-dimensional. Well, Nick's into farming, or Eric's into what can sell in aisle 4, or what. And I think that's important, that you like video games, I like jiu-jitsu. I think we're multifaceted creatures, and the fact that that's what interests me, because we know each other through mutual friends in martial arts. Right, and there's clearly an age difference. You're probably 6-8 months younger than me.
About just
but we're friendly, and I follow your stuff on social media, and I'm fascinated by it. I'm not kidding. When something comes up, I'm like, well, I wasn't too interested in the video thing. I thought it was cool, but when you have the watercress that you did, and I look at that stuff, I'm fascinated by it. I think it's phenomenal what you're doing, and just putting it out there. There's not a lot of the one thing I respect a lot is that there's not a lot of you guys are fools if you don't do exactly what I do. You just kind of put it out there and go, hey, this is what I'm doing. I think I might experiment with lion's mane next. Boom. And then no judgment, just kind of if you like it, great. If not, okay.
Yeah, I just try to be a good influence to other people, and I try to lead by example rather than bash. Like I said, I don't want to bash the farmers out there that are just trying to make a living, and they're using the fertilizers that they use, and they're using the pesticides that they use because they have to maintain their profits, and they have to make a living. Fortunately, so I'm not bashing anybody, but at the same time, I I got to try something. I got to do something myself. You know what I mean? That's what I'm doing. And as you're doing that, you know, you can influence others to do the same. You know, it empowers people to see somebody, you know, accomplish things, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's not unfortunately, we're an instant gratification society. So it's definitely not something that will instantly change the world, but the little things that you do in your living room or you do quietly and just, are persistent about it are the things that eventually make a difference. Like you may not change the world, but you change the neighborhood in Lynn. That's not so bad.
My friends and my family, you know, like an example is my brother-in-law. He's dealing with diabetes, and he's got health issues with that. And one of the things that I learned was that spirulina is really help with the issues with you know, insulin levels and things like that. I actually set him up with a spirulina tank at his house.
Oh, that's awesome.
And, now he's growing some spirulina.
That's So he's maintaining the glucose levels naturally with it. That's awesome.
Well, he's just started taking it, so we don't. I haven't noticed any differences yet. So so we're gonna, you know, keep at it, and I'm sure within time that, you know, he'll see some improvements, and it's better than you know, not having any supplements.
Oh yeah, but that's a healthy option that, you know, even if you don't see a dramatic difference, that's a good positive change in a diet, you know.
It's one of those things that it's hard to get a good source of, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know about the contamination in spirulina, by the way. But,
no, I mean, I sell several varieties of it, but no, go ahead, do it.
Spirulina, it has a property in which it binds to heavy metals and toxins in the environment and in your body. And so it has a great effect that if you take spirulina, it can bind to, like, let's say if you have mercury toxin,
you can pull it out.
Yeah, from like, you know, tooth fillings, like amalgam fillings and things like that. It just leaks into your body over time, and the spirulina can pull it right out of your body. And, you know, but the same thing is true with the spirulina if it's grown in a dirty environment. Let's say it's grown in a place where there's, you know, aluminum in like too much aluminum, too much. It'll take all that. It's going right in that spirulina, and then it's going to go inside those bottles or the supplements, the powders, whatever it is. All that aluminum is going in with it, and so you're taking the spirulina and you're actually taking a lot of heavy metals with it. So finding a clean source of spirulina, it's actually really difficult, and it can be much more expensive, because if you see the prices of spirulina, by the way, they're pretty high.
They can be pricey. Yeah.
That's true.
That's true of a lot of herbs. Even correct me if I'm wrong, but spinach too will draw out heavy metals from soil, correct?
There are certain varieties of plants. I believe spinach is one of them. There's just tons of them.
Yeah.
So you know, of how where it's grown and knowing where it's grown. That's knowing your farmers. And like being able to look them in the eye. You know what I mean? You can see like if you can visit their farm, you can see what they use. You know, their methods and things like that. That's awesome. You know, and growing your own spirulina, you know, 100%. That it.
Yeah, I did. Can you hear me? No. I'm constantly nervous about this since we had trouble with the audio.
No, don't worry about it. I'm getting a little bit lag, but it's going through.
Yeah, well, I'll let the 15-year-old figure that one out. That'll be his job. All right. Hey, thank you very much for doing. I think we should end on that note. I would love to link to whatever the hell you're doing, even the video games. I think that would be like, maybe we'll get some of the kids from the local, like my kids' friends, to link on, and you'll be like the local rock star. But when you do the when you do the stuff at the old playground in Lynn, can you shoot me a message? And just if I can, I'd love to go and either like do, talk about it and put the information out there, or just at least see what's going on. If you can shoot me at the address.
Of course. You know what? I got to get you in touch with my good friend David Gass. He runs the Highlands Coalition, and
Okay.
part of Lynn Grows and the Food Project, which they're all nonprofit organizations, dedicated to helping people grow food and eat healthier.
Yeah,
So
I'd love to talk to him. We
yeah,
do.
I'm gonna get you his email, and he would love to work with you. For
Yeah,
sure.
so we do something right now. Like, I mean, I think you've been when I stop by and see our buddies, I try and drop off some of the stuff that, is going out of date. But if they're a resource and they'd be interested in something like that from the store, when we get stuff that's ending, it's still good. I mean, I eat it all the time, but when it hits its best by date, we don't sell it. If that's something that they could put to good use, I'm in.
Oh, they will be all over that. He loves freebies, trust me.
Yeah, let's hook it up, and I'll talk to him. Where the store does, I mean, I don't want to turn this into an infomercial, but we're partnering with a place called Too Good to Go, where people can buy discounted stuff, and like that's my manager Julie and I are very active in trying to not waste. I mean, there's just a lot of waste that goes on in retail establishments, as you know. And we're actively trying to minimize that as much as our footprint or our part in that as much as possible. Recycling like packing materials to a local business, doing some other stuff. So yeah, like that. Anyway, I going off on a tangent, but yeah, definitely let me know about him. We'll see if we can do something.
Awesome. Well, hey, thanks for having me.
Hey, this was fun. Thank you very much. Sorry about the technical issues earlier, but I really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. I learned a lot.
Awesome. Great.
Hopefully I'll see you on the mat soon.
All right. See you.
All right. Thanks, Matt.